Hello, hello, friends. We are live on Tuesday, May 23rd, 2023, and we are here for the daily transmission. Please say hello wherever you are. I am in the midst of regaining my patience, my core stability. I don't know what on God's green earth is happening outside, but there are about a million bells. I don't know if you can hear this right now. I'm sure that if you're watching this or listening to it through Substack or YouTube, that you probably can't hear it because of the way that I record on my computer. But maybe if you're on Instagram, you can hear the beep, beep, beep. It is incessant. It has been for the last like 30 plus minutes, just like constant beeping, constant noise. There's some kind of construction going on like right out here. And then there's leaf blowers constantly because where are we? And so today, this morning, right, I started my day with my yoga practice as usual. I had my core mantra, this morning. And then just now I am sitting here and I am using what Russell Paul calls your recovery mantra. And I love that phrase because like a recovery mantra, if you're working with a regular mantra, which for example, like the core mantra that I use is Om Mani Padme Hum, and it's the jewel is in the lotus. There is enlightenment, like the God is in all of us, right? And sometimes when you like chant and you're like so in alignment and you're like feeling it, you have those like moments of, getting close to that feeling that you're supposed to, that we're all searching for, I guess. And then there are times where you might go to like chant your mantra and you're like, this just feels false. Like I feel so disconnected from things right now. And it's the same thing as like if you're trying to basically like toxic positivity all over your life, right? Where like, oh, things are just wonderful and I am so peaceful and everything is amazing. Like, no, I am not. I am completely disturbed and taken out by all of these fucking bells and dings. And oh my God, the sound pollution in my life right now is just it takes me completely out of my mental and energetic capacity. I get irritated quicker. And so I use my recovery mantra. My recovery mantra right now is Om Namah Shivaya, right? Which I'm basically invoking the energetic qualities of Shiva. Allow me to embrace discomfort, allow me to shed frustration, allow me to embrace the spirit of change and transformation and to release the things that are not serving me now and moving forward. And so like, it's not even like the sound is the sound, like the world gets to exist regardless of what I would like to happen, it's my job to maintain my inner peace. And so with my recovery mantra, that allows me to shed that irritation, that frustration, that ego feeling of like everything else needs to like shut up because I have to think, like that's unrealistic. We cannot expect the rest of the world to calm down and quiet and, relax for us to have a moment of peace. We have to find that moment of peace from within. And so this morning I am truly exercising that recovery mantra. And so I thought I would share that with you, just as a tool, a little tip, a hot tip, right? A little technique for you. And we're going to talk more about mantra as I continue to explore this area and use it with my own students and clients and in my life. So look forward to that one. Now today, I want to answer just a super quick question, or I guess it's not really a quick question, but probably a very common question. So I got this question on my Substack because, and this was on my most recent post about Gemini season. And I mentioned in that post the gates that we experience in Gemini season, right? And so when I say that, what I mean is the gates that the sun will be transiting during Gemini season. And that isn't all the time. That's every time the sun transits through Gemini, it's going to have those gates, right? Just the same way that every time the sun gets close to 54, I know like, oh, we're in the beginning of January. The other day I saw someone's human design, like just their body graph on Reddit. And I was looking at it and I was looking at it. And I commented and I was like, I would bet money that your birthday is either January 5th or January 6th in 1989, that you were born on the East Coast around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And she's like, Astro twin, is that you? And yeah, because, you know, there are certain things that you can see. And just because it's so close to my own chart, my own birthday, I'm like, oh, that's like, there's no other time in existence where everything is all lined up like that. But the sun, you know, we can count on. The sun's always in the same place that it was on your birthday every year. And so, yes, Shannon, to answer your question in short, do the sun gene key, the sun gate transits work the same as the sun astrology transits? Yep, they sure do. So if you have the gene key 16 and your core sequence, and so what she's talking about is, she said it's likely my south node in Gemini, but, you know, so it's, we have, you know, in the gene key sequences, you might be looking at your activation sequence, or you may be in your Venus sequence. Today, I'm actually starting to talk about prosperity sequence individually with my clients in my incubator program. But this could literally be for any placement in your chart. So for those of you who are following along on YouTube, and if you want to like check this out later, you can, you know, hop over to YouTube. It's at Mama Capricorn, or no, it's not. It's super isn't. It's at Fani Purdy. But if you search for Mama Capricorn, you'll find me. But what I want to do is I just want to show you what the body graph looks like, just very quickly, so that you can understand what a transit might do. Okay, so for example, let's look at mine right now. Okay, so this is my body graph. If you're watching along with me on YouTube, you can see my body graph. If not, don't worry about it. You can just kind of follow along and listen. Now, this is just a purely illustrative point. I don't know that anything is transiting 56 right now. I would have to look, which we will in a second. But I just want to highlight the point that, you know, wherever you have something activated, yes, when the sun or any other planet comes to transit that, like very recently I had Jupiter transiting, the sun transiting my Jupiter. And so the sun would have been in gate 8. Okay, so we're going to want to look at 8, and then we also want to look at the programming partner on the other side of this, right? We want to look at what's on the other side of the channel, because that tells us a lot about where you may be experiencing, yes, like a revisitation of stuff that you're familiar with. Like I have 8, so it is embodied. It's something that's always in my DNA. It's not something that I'm necessarily like only visiting when the sun is there or something else. But 56 is not something that I have. 11 is, right? So if we're looking at some of the hanging channels, that can give you a lot of information about why you may be experiencing certain things. So let me show you an example. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to open up, I'm going to show you what just now looks like. So just now, right, we're looking at, oh, we do have something in 56. What's in 56? Let's look. 56, Mars. So Mars is transiting 56 right now. Now it's in 56 line 6. And so anytime that you see something in a 6, you know it's about to change, right? So I don't know how long away, but it'll be in the next gate very shortly. And if you wanted to, you could also open it up like this and make it make even more sense, right? So now I'm showing you the Rave mandala. And so 56, so shortly Mars will move from 56 into 31. Okay. And so that's how that works, right? You can see all of the different signs around the outside, right? So we've got Capricorn here. That's 54. That's where my sun goes. Okay. We've got 53. What's in 53 right now? We've got the moon, and we've got Venus in 53. So my earth placement, right? My evolution placement, the placement where I have lots of room to grow in this lifetime. 53 is the way of expansion. So that's something that I'm getting like a highlight, a visitation on right now. Okay. So Shannon, I hope that makes sense. I feel like we were just talking about this actually in a post that I wrote for you. Because like I said, if something is, if we've got something connected on the other side of that channel, now we have a full activation. And this is where we experience not just like pressure, like energetic pressure from the people around us, but also just like from the energetic weather, just the same way that like, oh, there's a drop in atmospheric pressure and now people have like sinus congestion and headaches and stuff. When something is transiting 56 for me, oh my gosh, now all of my ideas are connecting and I'm just like ready to create stuff. And that makes a lot of sense based on how the last couple of weeks have been, especially. And so, I don't confuse this with something that's going to happen for me all the time. And when it's not happening for me, I'm not going to get caught up in like, oh my gosh, like where did my ideas go? Like, why can't I seem to connect the dots? Because that's just not, I need to take a beat, rest, relax, allow myself to use what I've already gotten, and come into like, this is the thing about any sort of energetic, anything that we're doing here, whether it's astrology, whether it's gene keys, whether it is human design, like literally doesn't matter the tool that we're using. The entire purpose of it is to help you to understand yourself in your body a little bit better so that you can trust yourself when you see things happen in your field. When something happens, when something is going on and you get the feeling, it's like, should I make that decision? Am I supposed to do this right now? Like, it's not, let me check my transits. It's let me feel into my body. Fuck the transits. Yes, I said that. Fuck the transits. Listen to yourself. Okay. But you have to know yourself. You have to really know yourself to be able to differentiate that. Right. Now, that's also a big part of why I love the yoga practice and the mantra practice and the breathwork practice and all of the other physical energetic tools that we use to help you to get out of the thinking mind and into your physical body, to go beneath your conscious thinking mind, the part that wants to perceive and figure everything out, and go into pure loving awareness that knows what you're here for and why and where you're going next. And it's just this like internal GPS system that you can tap into at any time. That's what the point of this is. So if all of this astro stuff, right? If I'm saying all this, like the sun or Mars is in 56, and that means I'm connected to 11. If you're like, I don't understand anything that you're saying, number one, duh. Okay. If you want to, you can book a session with me. But secondarily, like the information is not as important as developing a relationship with your body. Develop a loving, the most intimate, the most loving, the most compassionate, the most communicative relationship that you possibly can with your physical body, because that is what's going to tell you where to go and what to do next. And if things feel misaligned, if you're like, I just don't know what is what, I don't know which things to listen to, or I can tell you from personal experience, if you have been in anxiety, or if you have been in stress, if you've been living in survival mode for a really long time, if you've been a planner, if you've been someone who externalizes and sets a lot of goals or wants to create a lot of like strategies, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but what it really is, if we rely on that all the time, if we can't take action unless we have all of that in our hands, it's just fear. It's just fear trying to save us from a potentially uncomfortable situation. Okay. And so that's really not going to serve us. So we have to, right? Om Namah Shivaya. We have to release that fear, embrace the spirit of change, and recognize that the answers are not outside of us, that everything is in here. And in order for us to feel peaceful in our next steps, we have to develop that peaceful relationship inside first. I can help you with that. If you'd like some support, you know where to find me. Link is in my bio. You can subscribe to the Substack, all kinds of stuff going on there. And I will be back tomorrow for our next transmission. So until then, I love you so much. Thanks, Shannon, for such a great question. I'm sure that you are not the only one who has it. And if you have any other questions, yeah, you know where to find me. We'll see you tomorrow, friends. Loving you so much. Happy Tuesday. And have a beautiful day.